Tom, welcome to trmblock.com. First of all, great congratulations on the reopening of Rosebank. I mean, but it really wasn't an easy road getting here, was it? I mean, it was a test of survival against the odds. So let's just start this conversation by you briefly walking us through how and why Ian McLeod Distillers acquired Rosebank, the challenges faced and overcome to get to today.
First of all, thank you for having me. A pleasure to be here. Rosebank, we're absolutely delighted with Rosebank. It's not been an easy road to get here. It's taken a hell of a lot of work and a lot of great people to do it. It was quite a complicated project from the start. We acquired the site and the distillery name from Diageo in 2016-2017, and we only formally opened the distillery this year in 2024 in the late spring. So it's taken...
COVID got in the way, didn't it?
COVID got in the way. It wasn't ideal. And the building itself had a variety of issues. But, you know, we're really lucky, and we're producing some fantastic spirit now. Previously, when we bought the buildings were actually owned by the local councils, whereas the trademark was owned by Diageo itself, as well as the old stocks from between 89 and 93. So we've got some really interesting whiskey in there. But playing those two, all those stakeholders together was quite a challenge. And I'm really happy that we managed to do it. I mean, I don't think it's arrogant to say that I don't think a lot of whiskey distillers or whiskey companies could have actually done this. We're very lucky to have a close relationship with Diageo. They've been hugely helpful in getting the site up to scratch, giving us the old plans of the stills, for example, because the stills, I don't know if your listeners know, but were stolen back in
yes.
In the noughties, which wasn't ideal. They're quite expensive pieces of kit. But you
replicated them.
We replicated them, and we're up and running, and the place is looking fantastic.
Well, the capital expenditure program must have been quite intense. I mean, you know, you had to be long on patience to get it up and running, and I dare say deep in pockets too.
Peter, don't make me cry on camera. I don't. Yes, it has been. It's gone slightly over budget, let's say. But my grandfather always said, if you're going to do something, you should do it properly. And that's what we've done here.
But you've more than done that, because you've actually more than doubled the size. Built a shop, getting a tour experience running as well. And that, I think, is going to do about 50,000 in the first year. That's pretty good numbers.
That's what we're hoping for. And, you know, we built the distillery with the 21st century in mind. And it's very tourist focused, very visitor focused, and we've integrated that very much into the experience here.
Well, Rosebank is of course known as the King of the Lowlands. I mean, that's really some pedigree. How did it actually build that reputation?
That's a good question. It's through the 70s, 80s, 90s. Rosebank was very much known as the key dresser of blends, back in the time where there wasn't single malts, or it was just coming of age and starting as a category. And to have that reputation in the industry once malts started to gain traction, Diageo recognised Rosebank as being really one of the front runners in their single malt portfolio, and marketed it as such. And so it's always had the recognition from whiskey enthusiasts around the world as really one of the best lowland single malt whiskies out there. And I know I'm biased, but I would have to agree.
Surely not. Yeah. I guess when you looked at your negotiation with Diageo, they kind of had you over a barrel a little in terms of getting the brand. But let's move on quickly.
I suppose. No, I don't necessarily think. I think that it was very amicable, our negotiations with them.
Whatever happens, it's delivered a great result. It's taken us 7 years to get to this point. And as we'll see from some of the films we'll be including, it's a remarkable execution. So it's up and running. It's been going for about 3 months now. What's the consumer response been? The media response has been amazing, but what's the consumer response been?
The consumer response to the distillery itself or the brand?
To the distillery itself, and particularly the local community, which is really, the bedrock of importance to you in some respects.
Yeah, absolutely. So perhaps your viewers may not know. So the geography of Scotland, you have two major cities, Edinburgh and Glasgow, and the central belt in between is really the running artery of Scotland itself. It's a small country and small population. Rosebank sits in the city of Falkirk, which for Scotland is a relatively big town, and it was such an important social piece and fabric of the community before it closed. And we've been really excited to reopen that and get it up and running. We've had so many locals come in and tell old stories of the distillery, and so many people that used to work here have come back to share their stories, which is really, really exciting. So the response has been great. And picking up on your point about Rosebank itself and the importance of Falkirk in there, we heard so many stories from the local community about the importance of the distillery, and so we actually got the Falkirk residents round as a first tour to comment and help improve our experience, and it was great to gauge the response.
So looking at a slightly broader target audience, so you actually think Falkirk and Rosebank is particularly well located for whisky tourism?
Ultimately, yes. It's not the first place that you think of when you think of a Scottish tourist, but actually it's got a lot to offer with the Kelpies and the Helix of the Falkirk Wheel, and so we're delighted to see that the numbers of tourists grow in the area.
When then do you think that we'll see the first release of Rosebank under the IMD ownership?
The golden question. I'm not sure. It's too early to say. You know, we're in no rush whatsoever to get that out to market.
Only a family business could say that.
Unfortunately, we're in that position. Yeah, we're going to wait until the whiskey's absolutely perfect and do justice to the brand. And so I'm sorry, I can't comment on when it will be ready.
But fortunately, you do have some remarkable casks downstairs in the warehouse that you can actually release into the market to offset the patience that we all need to bear to await your news.
Absolutely, yeah. We would in the deal of acquisition that we did with Diageo, we acquired the old stocks, and it's a really scarce amount. It's just a handful of stock there, of a handful of barrels, but.
Enough to keep you going as a business, though.
Let's hope so. Let's hope so.
So how then do you envisage the plan in terms of the distillery character? Will you be mirroring the Rosebank of the past or taking the liquid into a new direction?
That's a very good question, and it's something that we've ummed and ahed about a lot. I think ultimately Rosebank has such a great reputation in the industry as the king of the lowlands, and its unique maturation and distillation process. So we triple distill, which is uncommon in Scotland, and then we use worm tub condensers. And so the triple distillation creates a light and fruity spirit, and then the worm tub condensers brings it down and makes it slightly more dense. So it's a bit of a juxtaposition, and that's what makes the character so unique. Let's
move on. What about cask sourcing?
So for Rosebank, traditionally, it's been predominantly bourbon matured, and in most cases refill bourbon. We let the new make spirit do the talking, and certainly Rosebank or Diageo previously did, and we intend on doing that in the future as well. We'll have some little tweaks in there and some exciting news to share, but I think predominantly it will be a bourbon-led whiskey.
Rosebank Reimagine offers you effectively much greater scope for growth. I think the projections are something like 1.4 million bottles a year. Is that right?
That sounds about right.
Okay. And of course your portfolio is growing too, and Lagan Bay opens its doors next year. But would you consider acquiring or establishing any more Scotch whisky distilleries? Are you in an acquisitive mode?
God, that question is a good one, and it made me want to get back to my desk. That sounds like there's quite a lot to do. If you look more holistically at our business, we've been in the whisky industry as a family for the best part of 90 years. I'm the fourth generation of Ian MacLeod. Actually, my wife's pregnant at the moment, so we've got the fifth generation on the way, which is great because we're under-resourced, and so we need more people to get to work. But we've only really been distilling or we've been an official distiller since 2003 when we bought Glengoyne from Edrington, and then in 2011 Tamdhu again from Edrington, 2016 Rosebank and Edinburgh Gin, and now, as you rightly alluded to, Lagan Bay in partnership with the Isla Boys on the island of Isla. So we've made some quite interesting acquisitions over the years, but we are a relatively new player.
That's 5 in 20 years, not bad going.
It's not bad going, and we've as a result our business has changed dramatically, and so to answer your question, I would say never say never. Yeah, I mean we're happy with it. It's made my hair fall out faster than I'd like it to, but
Okay,
we're getting there.
Got a bit of time to catch me up. But that's okay. How does that work in terms of regional coverage, though?
Well, that's what's very exciting about it, is that we've now got Glengoyne in the Highlands, Tamdhu in Speyside, we'll have Lagan Bay on Isla, and we've got Rosebank as the king of the lowlands. So we've got a really exciting portfolio and a huge headroom for growth now. So it's really an exciting time for us.
One last question, Tom. Just how much importance do you put behind global travel retail?
Global travel retail is a hugely important area of our business, and we're really focused and dedicated on improving our footprint and the awareness of our brands in such an important channel. Our team, William Ovens and his team, have done a really great job in starting that process, but we've still got a lot more room for growth, and we're really excited about what the future holds in the category.
Great stuff, Tom. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.